The United States is a cacistocracy. There is absolutely no doubt about it. We are being governed by the least qualified and most incompetent among us. Now we learn that the Secretary of Defense texted war plans to a journalist. You can't even make this stuff up. This level of incompetence endangers us all. I mean, there's no need to even explain why this is so dangerous. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, just Google it. You'll see it. Look up Pete Hegseth. Just Google Pete Hegseth and it'll all pop up. This jackass, man, I just got hit right in the eye. Sorry. Anyway, and so he just hours before a military attack on the Houthis, he apparently in a text communication chain on Signal, I don't know how Signal works, but apparently it's this encrypted chat platform. Pete Hegseth and a bunch of others, high-ranking administration people, were talking about war plans, and they included in the group chat a journalist from The Atlantic. And Donald Trump was asked about this today when this explosive news hit. I mean, this is full-on scandal stuff. Heads should roll. Pete Hegseth should be fired. In the past, any defense secretary, of course, in the past, no defense secretary would have done this. But if one had, they'd have been fired like immediately. By day's end, for sure, that person would be gone. Donald Trump was asked about this, and the piece of shit does what he always does, denies knowledge, and then attacks the messenger. He pretended he didn't know anything about it, and then he attacked The Atlantic. This is his favorite way to discredit stories, say that whatever news outlet reported the story is a failing concern with no viewers. And that's what he did here. Atlantic, terrible numbers, or I thought they were going out of business, whatever the hell he said. Actually, you know what? Let me play it. Watch this idiot.
Your reaction to the story in The Atlantic that said that some of your top cabinet officials and aides had been discussing very sensitive material through Signal and included an Atlantic reporter for that. What is your response to that?
I don't know anything about it. I'm not a big fan of The Atlantic. To me, it's a magazine that's going out of business. I think it's not much of a magazine, but I know nothing about it. You're saying that they had what?
They were using Signal to coordinate on sensitive materials and
having to do with what? Having to do with what? What were they talking about?
With the Houthis.
The Houthis? You mean the attack on the Houthis? Right. Well, it couldn't have been very effective because the attack was very effective. I can tell you that. I don't know anything about it. You're telling me about it for the first time.
All right, so there he is, pretending he doesn't know anything about this. And by the way, if he doesn't know anything about it, and I don't believe for a second that he doesn't, but if it were true that he doesn't, then it just proves that this man should not be president for that reason alone. Your Secretary of Defense leaks war plans to a journalist who just gets inadvertently added to a list, and you're not even made aware of this? You're an incompetent boob. But I don't believe this for a second. He's just a lying sack of shit. That's what he is. Anyway, I need to dial it down. I've been working on my anger levels lately, but I gotta tell you, it's very difficult not to lose your shit almost every single day with the news that comes out every day. This is our country. How dangerous is this? And by the way, let me tell you who's responsible for this. Every dirtbag senator who voted to confirm Pete Hegseth. This is what happens when you make an incompetent drunk former weekend Fox News host, Secretary of Defense. This man had no qualifications, no professional qualifications to prepare him for this position. And on top of that, everything we know about this guy is he is a loathsome individual with a horrible character, assaulting women, a drunk to the point where, it's a major problem at places he worked. Man, what's going on here? I didn't pick the best place to stand, I don't think. So he's incompetent for the job as a matter of professional qualifications. And he's just a detestable human being who should not be trusted with any kind of responsibility in the federal government, least of all to be Secretary of Defense. Of course, we knew all of this before he was confirmed by the United States Senate. And every senator who voted to confirm him is responsible for this. Every one. Because this is exactly the kind of incompetence that you should expect when you put someone like that in a position like this. And every one of those Republican senators, they knew he shouldn't be confirmed. But there's no way that they were going to stand up to the cult leader of their party, because they're all a bunch of sniveling cowards. Either they're full on into the cult and they just do whatever the cult leader says, or they're just so scared to stand up to the cult leader because they're afraid of the crazies in his base. I don't care what the reason is. They're complicit in this. They're responsible for this. And by the way, so we learned about this today, right? What do we not know about? What other information might this drunk former Fox News host have sent to somebody? We have no idea. We have no idea what else this idiot may have done with top secret information. By the way, this is a crime. This is the unauthorized disclosure of highly sensitive, top secret information. I mean, war plans leaked hours before an attack. This man, not only should he be escorted out of that building, he should be escorted out of the Pentagon in handcuffs. That's what should happen to this guy. But you know what's going to happen to him? Probably nothing. And I wonder what Fox News is going to do. What is the Fox News spin going to be? That this is all fake news? That this is just part of the deep state, trying to strike back against Pete Hegseth? Because they hate him and they hate Donald Trump, and this is just the deep state. I don't know. More than likely, it'll be some version of that. Probably nothing will happen to him. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. And another thing about all this. We've talked about this even before he took office. That the damage that this was going to do to our relationships with other countries, it was going to put this country more in danger. And that has become evident since this guy has taken office. What country is going to share classified information and intelligence with the United States? You have to be out of your frickin' mind to tell the United States government anything that you didn't want the whole world to know. Before today, you could at least assume that anything you tell the United States government, anything you tell to Pete Hegseth or Tulsi Gabbard or Donald Trump or anyone in the administration, that information, you might as well just call the Kremlin and tell them, because anything you tell us is going straight to Vladimir Putin. So why would any country tell us anything that they didn't want Vladimir Putin to know? And in fact, if they did tell us anything, they'd probably be using us for purposes of disinformation. Hey, let's feed the Americans some disinformation because we know it'll make its way to Putin, and so Putin will get disinformation. That's the only reason they tell us anything, because our president is in bed with Putin and some of the worst despots around the friggin' globe. But on top of that, now they have to worry about telling us things just out of sheer incompetence. Because not only does anything you tell us go straight to Putin, but anything you tell us is at risk of being leaked to journalists at The Atlantic or whoever the hell else this drunken buffoon might include in a text chain. It is unbelievable that we are here. It is unbelievable. The American people voted for this. All the information was there to know that this was going to be an absolute disaster. And yet they did it. Good God. And we're 2 months in. Just 2 months in. Imagine where we're going to be in a year from now. All right. I'm getting too angry. I'm going to go walk it off. God help us. Thanks for watching. Talk to you again soon.